Alright guys, Mr. G bringing you something a little bit different today. We're going to talk about how to pack for a family of 4 to go on your first backpacking trip. Okay, now if it's your first time being a backpacker or it's your 20th time, hopefully there'll be something in this video for everyone. I have 2 children. I have a son who is 8 and a daughter who is 4. So this is how to pack for an entire family of 4. Speaking of son that is 8, he's working on packing his pack right now. So we're gonna go over a couple of different steps. Basic gear. I'm gonna go over all the different parts of the gear, packing it up and checking for weight. Hey, younger G, you ready to go backpacking, dude? Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks, buddy. All right, let's show everybody the gear they need to bring on their first backpacking trip. All right, guys, so when I pack for a backpacking trip, I have to lay everything out for every member of my family and all of the gear they're gonna bring, all the way down to my 4-year-old. Don't worry, she won't be packing a sleeping bag or any of that stuff. This is just so I know that I have everything that every member of my family is going to need on a trip into the mountains. And we're planning a 2-night, 3-day backpacking trip to Sawtooth Lake near Stanley in Idaho. So first thing I like to do is I like to lay out food for the trip. So I like to do it by day. So we're only gonna come in on Thursday night, so really just 1 meal there. We're gonna have, I got a family of 4 here, so I got a couple freeze dried, you just add the boiled water to heat those up. These packs of oatmeal are great for breakfast, and I gotta have my coffee. Another thing that can be nice to do is these packs of tuna or salmon are great to just add a little protein if you just have noodles or some sort of noodle dish that's easy to throw in. Bring anything that's really dried works fine. These packaged, pre-packaged soup things are great. My first mistake I made backpacking, I made the mistake of bringing canned goods, which was terribly bad because it's so heavy and you can't break down the waste and compact it when you pack out your garbage. So I organized my food in 2 different ways. So I'm gonna organize it with meals. You'll also notice here I've got my adult beverage. We've got some red wine there. Don't bring glass into the wilderness. Get boxed wine and just take the bladder out, and it makes a really light, easy way to pack some booze into the wilderness. And then my second bag of food is just snack food. Now, the wife grabbed the Reese's Pieces, and I don't love those because they're probably gonna melt. But otherwise, we just have some sugary, quick carbohydrates that we can pack for food. Now, you guys have all seen these bags before, right? You get them just about everywhere. Everybody has these laying around. These are great for what I call just stuff sacks, just putting stuff in. I used to pack all my stuff directly into my bag, which is really, really frustrating and annoying when you pack it because you don't have it all organized, and it makes it a lot harder to pack and unpack. So keeping everything organized by stuff sack is really handy. So I'm gonna go over the general stuff, and then I'm gonna unpack and show you every item that I'm gonna bring on this particular trip. I always like to have a bandana. They're just really handy for whether it's washing up or just putting over your head when you're sweaty. Those are a great thing to have. Always want to bring a hat. I like the ones that are vented at the back because they're not too hot. Like having my Garmin so I can track my mileage, how far I am on the trail, so I know where I'm at. Always got to have a book, going off the grid. Leatherman. Any kind of multi-tool will work, but I do really enjoy my Leatherman. Has everything I need there for it. Camp chair. There's a number of different ones. This one's a stool. I don't particularly love it. There's better models out there, and I'd like to get a new one later. This is a rip-off North Face jacket that I got in Nepal, or no, it's Asterix or something. But it's nice because it provides a little insulation. It's not too heavy duty, and it's also waterproof. So you definitely want some sort of rain jacket. My wife's gonna have a lighter duty rain jacket right there. This bag I'm gonna go through in a minute. This is where I put all my food and gear. Definitely want to have that. You're going to want to have a Nalgene. Obviously that's not enough water for 3 days, so you're going to need a water filter. We'll go over that in a minute. Definitely want a stocking cap even in summer for at nighttime because we're going to be going up into the mountains, one of the coldest places in Idaho. Everybody on your trip is going to want one of these. You're going to have your headlamp. One of my personal favorite items right here is a hammock. It's a lightweight hammock that you can put up. And then for each person on my trip, you got to make sure that you have a good insulated air mattress to sleep on, so you're not sleeping on the hard ground. So my sleeping bag, if you're thinking, oh my God, that's huge, That's because if you have a good sleeping bag, like a down or a goose feather sleeping bag, they'll give you a large bag to store it so that you don't crush the feathers, because we're going to put it in a compression bag next. And then last but not least, you're going to want to make sure that you have a backpacking tent. It's going to be lightweight. It's going to be smaller than your regular tents. I have 2 other tents for car camping that are much bigger and much heavier. One of my other first mistakes backpacking was I brought a regular 4-person tent in that was maybe 20-25 pounds. Not something you want to do. Here we have my medical bag, which is all medical and toiletries, which I'll go over that in a bit. So this will be my wife's pack, which she's going to be carrying. Also air mattress sleeping bag, air mattress sleeping bag, air mattress sleeping bag for all of my kiddos there. So I got my 8-year-old, my 4-year-old. This is a personal preference thing here. Is some people have backpacking pillows, or you can bring in a small pillow if you want. If you want to cut down on weight, one option that you can do is, you know, take a softer style stuffed sack like this one that's not canvas, but it's cotton, and you fill that with your clothes, like your sweaters and sweatshirts, and that will make a great pillow at no extra weight. All right, now let's unpack this gear and let's go over food and cooking items, water items, first aid, and toiletry. All right, guys, next we're gonna do miscellaneous gear and talk about different cook stoves and kitchen, just cooking stuff in general, since we've already done food. So we've got 3 kinds of stoves here. Well, they're pretty similar, but we have just a super lightweight little tiny stove. This one's by Snow Peak. It was my first stove that I ever got. Let's see if I can get this open one-handed. I cannot wait for it. It's a tiny little stove. It's going to fold out there. It's got a built-in igniter, and there's our camp gas we're going to use and stand for that particular stove. Always bring an extra lighter, because I've had lighters die on me and go bad. We could definitely go lighter. I'm not going to bring all these stoves. I'm going to bring this one and this one, because we're not going that far back, and my wife loves coffee. So we've got the Jet Boil here, which is a great stove in that it has an insulated water boiler, so it's going to heat up a lot faster, particularly in colder environments. So that's going to get you your water heated up that you're going to be using to make all of your dehydrated food. Now this stove is called a solo stove, and it's kind of cool. We're not going to bring this one on this trip, but I just wanted to talk about it since we have it out. This one doesn't require any camp fuel. You just take small sticks and wood, put it in there, get a fire going, slap that bad boy on there. Takes a little bit longer, it's a little bit more work, but if you're going to go on an extended trip and you don't want to be packing tons of fuel, that'll definitely cut down on your weight. So while having a stove is extremely important in backpacking, one of the first things I got, thank you to my father-in-law for this stove and my mother-in-law for this stove. But the other thing that you're definitely going to want to have is you're going to want to have a water filter. So usually these look like they'll have 2 ends. They'll have a pump. One end you're going to put out into your water source. The other you're going to put into your water jug, and you're going to just pump that through a carbon filter into whatever water bottle you have, because obviously 3 water bottles is not enough water to get through 3 days. If you're going somewhere where the water is really silty, you can put like a coffee filter over your end that goes in the water to get a little bit more filtration, but we're going to be on a mountain lake, so this filter will work just fine. This is more cooking gear than most people will bring, but I have 2 young children and they eat all the time. We just basically have a pot here. Well, let me go ahead and just pull it out and I'll show you. All right, pretty straightforward. We've got a cook pot. Handle collapses and goes away. We have 2 insulated cups here, so if you want to do hot coffee or hot soup, those can go in there. And just 2 other cups, and that goes all inside. I don't know, as if camp food isn't salty enough, I do like to bring seasonings. Usually I only bring these when I go with my father-in-law, because he's a really good fisherman and he catches a decent amount of fish, so before we grill those up we can get those seasoned. Definitely an optional item that you would not necessarily have to bring, and since the food you're going to be making is already really salty, you could probably skip this one. All right, other things that we always make sure to remember to bring. Some dish soap and a rag for cleaning up your stuff. I always like to have a little thermometer as well as a compass, just in case my phone dies. I will have my map on Google Maps about where I'm going. Download it offline. It's an emergency rain poncho. I always just like to have an extra just in case. And this is kind of a cool little guy. Inside this is a little day bag that we can unpack and we'll fold out for doing day hikes during the day. Although if you don't have one of these stuff sacks that you're using here will work just fine. Alright guys, I guess if this is a beginner backpacking video for people new to backpacking, I better at least briefly go over clothes that I'm going to bring on a 2-day trip. Now my clothes are by no means the best. These are mostly just regular clothes anybody's going to have. Underwear, some shorts, and an Under Armour shirt to hike in with. This will be nice because it's going to be hot hiking with all the gear. So shorts. Under Armour is nice because I can just dry it out if I get sweaty, reuse it. One other extra pair of underwear. I got 3 extra t-shirts because I get sweaty and I go through t-shirts a lot and they're lightweight. I'd probably be okay with 1 if I needed to, or 2. 2 pairs of socks because you can always clean and dry one while wearing the other, so you don't need more than 2. 1 pair of lighter pants. I stay away from denim on backpacking trips, so just some khaki pants for nighttime when it's cold. A sweater and like a flannel with buttons. This is nice because you can layer that. And then sweatpants for at night for in my bag when it's cold. And then just a windbreaker waterproof raincoat to layer over these if I get really cold, warm me up, versus bringing a heavy duty coat. So want to keep the clothes as light as I could. Could we have gone lighter? Yes, but it's not that far of a hike, so we're fine with this. All right, guys, we got all of our bags packed up. One of the things I like to do last is I like to get them weighed. So mine's coming in a little bit heavy because I'm packing for my kids. So I'm at 50 pounds. In this Kelty backpack, it's an internal frame as opposed to this older style external frame. You don't see very many of these anymore. We'll talk about how to load an internal frame versus an external frame here in a minute. Mrs. G, my wife, hers is coming in at 27 pounds. My 8-year-old, he's going to be at 13.5 pounds. And my 4-year-old, 2 pounds. She's got a couple of toys. It's more just training at this point. So one of the ways you're going to want to load an internal frame backpack is you're going to want your heavy things right here in the middle, close to your back. You're going to want your medium weight things near the top to the outside, and you're going to want your lightweight things on the bottom. So I always put in my sleeping bag first, air mattress, clothing, and then gear like the tent I'm going to strap to the outside. Gear that you're going to want to have to get to, things like snacks, food, etc. I like to put that in the top pouch. And you're always going to want to have your water somewhere where you can get to it on your outside, like right over there. And of course, got to have my adult beverage safely on the outside in case it leaks. It doesn't get over all of my gear. All right, so that's a Kelty backpack. I really enjoy that. It's a good backpack. My wife uses a smaller Osprey backpack. It's been good. She really enjoys it. Fits her pack nicely. I think my youngest, or not my youngest, my son's running an REI Trail 25. And my 4-year-old unicorn backpack. Really, probably the best backpack of the bunch. And then my last pro tip is don't forget your flip-flops for camp. Pack a cooler of cold beverages for when you get back home. And maybe a change of clothes in your car for when you get back from camping. Whew, it's hot in here, guys. It's a really hot day today. But we're off to go camping tomorrow. Hopefully you found this useful. Please leave your own backpacking tips for how to pack in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, hit that like button. And if you want to watch more camping vlogs, subscribe to the channel and go down to the channel vlog section. I'm going to catch you guys later. Mr. G out.